Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have Peter on Reanimator versus Peter on Esper Vial with a main deck leyline. What am I seeing here? We have Underground Sea. Into Chalice at 1. I don't think this is Esper Vial. This may be some type of Curse Prison deck. Meddling Mage. What? These have to be the wrong names. I don't know if they're Peters, but these are not the decks. Reanimator not running Meddling Mage. You definitely see these being swapped. Right now, I'm going to assume that Esper Vial is on the left-hand side. And perhaps the right-hand side of the board is going to be like a Curse Prison deck. Opposition Agent. I mean, good luck with Meddling Mage. Naming cards out of this deck. Opposition Agent actually turning sideways. Expecting to win the race. 4 more damage comes in. And now a Baleful Strix. That's going to be tough to race against. No end-step Opposition Agent. We have a Trinisphere. And Peter's stuck on 2 lands that could be an issue. He's going to force a will it. Though honestly, I'm not sure that it's really that big a deal given the board state. I mean, you're going to win that race. Another Baleful Strix. I mean, I guess you are in a situation where you use it or lose it. You can't force a will until you get to 3 mana anyways. But we'll see if there's another threat worth countering. Chrome Mox coming down. And now just the Baleful Strix attacking. I got to imagine these Meddling Mages are naming something like Helm of Obedience. And it looks like a 5 or 6 mana play. 6 mana play, most likely. And we got a reader. So we got Curse of Misfortunes, which is going to eventually lock Peter out of this game. It is grabbing Overwhelming Splendor, basically a Humility, making all those creatures 1/1s. And a hard cast Curse of Death's Hold, it looks like. That merits a Force of Will. Everything turning sideways. That Curse of Death's Hold would have been absolutely backbreaking, essentially locking Peter out of the game. Instead, it is counterspelled. Force of Will coming through in the clutch, as it often does. So, for those who are not familiar, I don't blame you. But Curse of Misfortunes is a 5 casting cost curse. You enchant a player, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you can search your library for a curse that doesn't have the same name is one attached to that player and attach it to that player. So you're going to look to assemble over the course of the next couple of turns Overwhelming Splendor, which is what we just saw. That makes creatures enchanted player control lose all abilities and have power and toughness 1/1, and enchanted player can't activate abilities that aren't mana abilities or loyalty abilities. A pretty devastating card there. And of course, Curse of Death's Hold, card that has seen some fringe play here and there, is a 5 casting cost. Enchant player, creatures enchanted player controls get -1/-1. So not something you'd expect to see very much of, given how good, say, Plague Engineer is. But that is actually what this deck is capable of doing. Just locking out the opponent thanks to a couple of curses. And they also have Cruel Reality. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player sacks a creature or planeswalker. If the player can't, they lose 5 life. So you can actually assemble a win condition as well. So if you can slow things down, Curse of Misfortunes, even though it doesn't do anything on its own, will eventually bring enough curses to the yard to really close that game out versus most decks. Anything that's running creatures. Now there's obviously some soft spots here, as that doesn't necessarily do very much versus, like a Storm deck or many of the combo decks. But if your combo revolves around creatures, it's still going to be a nightmare. I'm going to go ahead and skip over. Alright, we're done shuffling. Chrome Mox, Imprinting, and City of Traders, allowing for a first turn Trinisphere. If this resolves, Peter's not going to be doing anything for a while. Most he can hope for is making his first 3 land drops. The shields will be down. City of Traders into Karn. Yeesh. This is a brutal start. Grabbing Mycosynth. I'm sorry, not Mycosynth Lattice, Liquimetal Coating. And Peter's really going to be hoping for fetch lands, as that will give him some counterplay. Oh no. He's sacrificing both of them. No, sir, I don't like it. Liquimetal Coating now takes out one of those lands. So I think that was a unusual situation, one that I've certainly played against a lot in Vintage, with similar effects. It's also similar to playing against Wasteland and Strip Mine. So what you want to do there is keep your fetch lands open. That way, if they are targeted by Peter with that Liquimetal Coating, you can sacrifice in response to go get a land. And then he'll have to essentially use multiple uses of Liquimetal Coating to kill a land. So your fetch land will survive, so to speak, in the form of a dual land. That one can easily be taken out the next time, but you can only take out a land every other turn, which gives you a chance to potentially build up if you continually rip fetch lands. It's another thing that makes those fetches just so incredibly good, is the resiliency versus land destruction, something that doesn't come up very much anymore. But that was an instance right there where it's totally relevant. And those are some legit Magic cards. I mean, Karn is a card that you can expect to play against in Legacy. I will not say the same for all of the cards in Peter's list. This Curse Prison build is definitely going to catch some people off guard. But Karn, with Liquimetal Coating, that is definitely something that you can be encountering just in general out there in a Legacy event. Alright, so Flooded Strand for Peter, passing the turn, no Vial. Vial would actually be pretty strong in this matchup overall. And I am not sure what that is. I think that's one of the new land hybrid cards. Yeah, Palaka Predation. It's a black card. Essentially a Inquisition of Kozilek. That can also be a land. Imprinting on Chrome Mox. And usually Chalice deck's looking to get that Chalice down first turn as fast as possible. Instead, we see a ETB tap land and a turn 2 Chalice, which, you know, may prove to be just as damaging over the long haul. Yeah, Peter not going to be able to stop the Chalice for now. Maybe he'll have removal for it, but that card is incredibly damaging. Stopping all sorts of cantrips, Esper Vial, potentially some creatures, and Recruiter of the Guard. There's some options here. So Flicker Wisp will actually be able to hit that Chalice and reset it to 0 if he runs that. I don't know that the deck shares quite that much DNA. Oh, wow. Opposition Agent just too late? Is that what we're seeing here? Palace Jailer. Making way for Recruiter of the Guard. Now a Chalice at 2. Esper Vial has a board presence. If they can maintain it, they'll be in good shape. But, I mean, this is somewhat fragile. Chalice at 1 and 2 means that if anything goes wrong, it's going to be very difficult to get back into the game. Helm comes down, but no Leyline yet, so not a huge threat. Can possibly turn into a creature, but that is not what you want to be doing with this card. Generally, the only way that mana investment is worth it is if you're actually winning. City of Traders coming down after Helm. Not protecting against Daze at all. Everything turning sideways as Peter's life very much under attack. And a Skyclave Apparition KOing this Helm. And a Curse of Misfortunes. Looks like it may be... Is this going to be too late? We'll see if it resolves first. It does. Everything turning sideways, down to 2. Wasteland takes out the City of Traders, and it looks like it's going to be just not enough. Four mana to work with. And that is going to do it. Curse not able to handle that onslaught. More time would have been okay, but that is very often the case with this type of deck. You don't really want to get lulled into feeling much hope there. If the deck doesn't catch up, I mean, being a turn late is pretty much the same as being 20 turns too late. But we'll see with this Cursed Prison list. If it's able to spend some more time on camera, I will be interested in watching. As there's some really interesting interactions versus a big chunk of the field. I do think it's going to be soft as far as the Curse package versus some of the decks, but maybe your Trinispheres and your Chalices are enough to shore up those matchups. I don't know. I think we need to see a lot more of this before weighing in with very much confidence. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.